Hey, welcome everybody. This is John Paul Dutch, Dr. Speed Selling, and this is another exciting episode of the Raging Verbalist. This is Raging Verbalist number 153. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're a longtime viewer, watcher, listener, and all of the above, of course, you can check us out on YouTube, in which I would ask you to at least, give us a thumbs up. Always helps with the old algorithm. Say nice stuff. And subscribe. Think about subscribing. And then we're also on Facebook with the Position to Win book group, and you can go check us out there, and there's some pretty cool stuff with that. And just a quick summary, I guess, not summary, a quick intro of what we do is that we talk about all kinds of different topics, stuff that comes to mind, kind of veer away from the political for the most part, trying not to get too deep into those kinds of things, but you never know where we're going to go. And with me, as always, is the ever lovely Sandra. Sandra was a little bit on the sick side earlier this week, so we had 10,000 Tibetan monks praying for her getting better, and it appears that she's a trooper, and she's here today. Sandra, even though I know you're not feeling 100%, glad that you're here.
Well, thank you. Glad to be here. I have my voice back. I'm not coughing, so it's a good day.
There you go. Yeah. We don't want to have to, have that, that little technical difficulty sign that we put up as you have a wheezing, coughing attack or something. So.
Right. Exactly.
All right. So what are we talking about today, Sandra? What's on the topic for today?
We are talking about Thanksgiving. So is Thanksgiving truly special?
Well, I think Thanksgiving is really a special kind of holiday. It's actually celebrated other parts of the world, but I'm going to focus on the U.S. So if you're outside, okay, maybe this is a little bit of a history lesson. So 1621, the Pilgrims, as they were called, were sitting there, and they had the survivors because they had lost a bunch of them. I mean, it was tough times, as far as I know, they didn't even have good cell service or anything. And they had just had a good harvest and things were really good. And then October of 1621, 53 surviving pilgrims and 90 Native Americans got together in a feast, a festival. And for 3 days, they were, having a good time. I mean, I would say, nobody knows how to party like a pilgrim. I mean, that's got to be one of those things. And away you go. Now, the U.S. ends up going through and fighting a war against the British. And in 1789, George Washington says, hey, this should really be kind of a national holiday, and puts that forth. Congress doesn't pass it. Jefferson doesn't believe in supporting it. But still, on and off, we have people celebrating Thanksgiving, a day to really kind of think about all the good things that have happened in your life. And then in the depths of the Civil War in 1863, Lincoln, lots of days I know, but you get a little history lesson. 1863, Lincoln says, we're going to have a national day of observance of Thanksgiving and prayer. Couldn't get that out today. You wouldn't say the word prayer. It's like, oh, look out. But he puts that in place, and from that we end up with what we now have as the modern Thanksgiving. Is that was really the kind of the linchpin because of Lincoln pushing that forward. I think it's a special day because, all too often we get so busy and wrapped up in our day-to-day life that we don't really take time to give thanks for all the things that we have.
So it sounds like there's more to the story.
Well, I think that the more to the story is that since this becomes this, embroiled this debate about whether or not it should truly be a national holiday, it ends up getting debated all the way through into the 1940s, and ends up becoming codified as the third Thursday of every November. And of course, it gives rise to other things that happen, but it's really a national holiday in the United States. The Canadians celebrate, our Canadian friends, hello up there, celebrate in October, more traditional, if you will, because that's when harvest happens. So yeah, that's the deeper part of the story. And all across the U.S. and other parts of the world, there are ever more Thanksgiving celebrations.
So do you have any special memories of Thanksgiving growing up?
Thanksgiving was an interesting time when I was growing up because my father had discovered a recipe on how to make turkey, of how to cook turkey. And if you've never had the joy of cooking turkey old school, I'm not talking about where you buy it, and the cater guy delivers it. And I know some people are saying, well, catering. Well, if you buy a pre-done one, then it's actually catered. So my father would buy a turkey, the biggest one you could imagine. It was quite amazing. And what he would do is he would then do what was called Thompson's turkey. And it was a recipe that was actually in a novel that somebody then made famous by writing it into a magazine article, which he tore out and kept that. And we had Thompson's turkey. And from the time that I woke up, rubbing my eyes, going, "Oh my God, it's too early," till hours later, my father was building the masterpiece of a Thompson's turkey and what it would be. And that was always interesting because my aunts and uncles and cousins and everybody came over, and we had this incredible, turkey. And of course, everybody else's thought was, hey, you just, you kind of clean out the innards, you shove in the stuffing, you toss it in the oven, and away you go. Well, yeah, no, this was a multi-stage affair. I think, it gave him rise that he probably could have gone and worked for NASA or something, because it was a very elaborate process. I've looked up the recipe online, and all I can tell you is, I guess someday maybe I'll make it, and all that. We could do a cooking show, but it would have to be just like Netflix serial. It'd have to be multiple episodes, because it takes 10 hours to go through this process. And I remember that. So that was what made it kind of special, is that was such a high end ceremony. So how about you, Sandra? I know sitting there in Nebraska, you guys didn't just go down and, pick up something at Chick-fil-A or something.
That is true. So on Thanksgiving, we would go to my aunt's house on my dad's side and just kind of eat together as a family. But I guess more of the bigger celebration, I would say, is going to my grandmother. So visiting family on my mom's side, we would do that on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. We'd have a big meal, and I get to see cousins that lived farther away. We didn't get to see them very often, so that was nice. So it'd be food, and then watch the football game, and then help decorate grandma's house for Christmas afterwards. So it was always special and fun to get together, and that was it's some really good memories doing that, for sure.
Well, it sounds great. And the whole football thing, I'll just throw that in, and that was one of those things. Now, here's something we always did on Thanksgiving that I had left out. I have to absolutely say it. So what we would always do is watch the Macy's Day Parade in New York City on television, first in black and white, and then, we jumped to color. I know, for all of you who watch everything on your phone, we jumped to color, and we would watch the Macy's Day Parade. And that was a pretty cool thing. Now, part of the hook of that is that my mother had worked. That was the first job she ever had, was working for the Macy's company in New York City, in Manhattan. And, so we felt this connection to it. So that was great. Here we were in Denver, Colorado, in our little jammies, watching the Macy's Day Parade. Because, of course, in those days, they didn't adjust for time zones. They, whatever time zone they did it. And whatever the feed was, they fed it, and away you go. And of course, since we were in the, non-spoken of time zone of the mountain states, because I'd always say Eastern, Central, and Pacific. And we're like, what about us? So we would watch that, and then we would put on the football game. And of course, my mother would always say, that's getting turned off when the food is ready. And we were fully aware that my father would be cooking all day. So we were going to watch the game and the game and the game, because, Thanksgiving in the NFL were the double Ds, Detroit and Dallas. They're always on Thursday, Thanksgiving football.
Gotta watch football on Thanksgiving. You just have to.
Yeah.
Regardless. All right. So what's something special we can all do this Thanksgiving to make it special?
Well, I think that a lot of times we kind of miss out on some of the things that, and I'm not just trying to be nostalgic and say that it was always better then, because we have a tendency to just kind of go, well, is it really that important of a day? The only way that you make a day important is that you decide this is an important day and I'm going to do something different. I'm going to make this a special day. I'm going to work at this and make it better than any other day and treat it as such. And if you do that, I think that what happens is that you'll find that you'll get more meaning out of it. So since everybody is celebrating this at the same time and doing this, is let's think of some of the things that you can do, and how you can do some of those things. So, and I'm not here to spoil your jam or something. I mean, if your idea of Thanksgiving is to order, pizza and have somebody deliver it, I guess that's your jam. But think about what you might be able to do in that regard. And I think one of the biggest things is that you really should write down and say, what am I thinking about, and how is this a great year? Because of course, as someone has just said recently to me, of course it's a great day because you woke up and you were still here. So that I don't get that rudimentary. The other thing that you can do, of course, is that you can think about what you're going to be getting people for Christmas or New Year or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or Festivus or whatever you celebrate. I don't know what it is. And what you can always think about getting, which is always a good thing, is that you can go to positiontowinbook.com and pick up your very own copy. If you order it soon enough, we can sign it, send it to you. And it's most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes. It just takes them 3 to 5 years to realize it. Great read for the holidays, also available on, Kindle, Apple, Nook, actually Barnes & Noble, Nook, Apple iBooks, and it's available at Barnes & Noble and Amazon. Also, we have Remote Work for a Better World, so you can get better at what we're doing right here, which is doing, live events and learning how to do those kinds of things. So that's something you can make very special this year. So.
All right. So is Thanksgiving only about eating a lot of food or pigging out?
So yeah, one of the challenges that you always have to have is that we kind of get into our mindset that this is a day that we're going to go over the top on food, and I have to admit I like doing crazy stuff like that. But one of the things I think you have to do is think about, so what are those other things you can do? And I am a big believer that I send out, and this is just an idea for everybody. I send out Thanksgiving texts to people. So I literally go through my phone and start sending happy Thanksgiving to people, even people that I do business with. Be surprised. I usually send out probably about 150 to 200 texts that day, and people respond. And it's kind of nice because some people don't have anybody who really reaches out and touches them and does that. So I think you can do that. The other thing is that tell other people stories that maybe are your Thanksgiving memories, something that worked out or something that didn't work out, and what's taking place. But Thanksgiving to me, I think, really is one of those holidays, and we can always say they're made up. Well, depending upon how secular you are, they're all made up. I mean, no single day is any different than any other day, unless you make it that special day. So make Thanksgiving that special day for you and for all those around you, so you have something more to be thankful for.
It sounds like an attitude of gratitude.
Well, I really believe in an attitude of gratitude, which is kind of a cool way of saying it. But what I would also say is, sending people messages, calling people on the phone, talking to them, FaceTiming them, Zoom call, WhatsApp. We got a million ways to communicate. And yet there are a lot of people who are lonely and isolated. Think about somebody that you could go reach out to and say something really nice to them and connect with them. And I think that that's very valuable in life. And I think it's very valuable in affirming who you are and what you're going to do. Let's face it, we have one life to live. We have this day that we're doing, and showing people gratitude is a very important thing. And that's why you really want to think in those terms. You'd be amazed at how far you can go in life by just showing somebody that thank you, saying something nice to them, doing something well for them. It's worked out well over my lifetime, and I have found that it works in a surprisingly big way. And and then there are certain people that you owe something to, a debt of gratitude, And I don't view that debt as being like an oppressive thing. I view it as something that you should keep paying on. There's somebody who changed my life, many years ago, and every year we talk on a specific day, and I, express my gratitude for him literally changing my life for the better. Who do you have on your list, and who should you be sharing gratitude with? And how can you do those little things, those small things, those helpful things? And I know that as we get busier and, a little bit crazier, that we have a tendency to not do that. But I would say that if you do that, you will make a difference in people's lives. And that's a good thing.
All right. So what's something you're thankful for?
Well, I'm thankful for, first off, I'm really thankful for the fact that we are, the channel is growing and things are going well. I'm grateful that I have you, Sandra, here every week, and, to brighten everybody's day a little bit. I'm thankful for the fact that, in relative terms, there's everybody around me is in pretty decent health. And it looks like we're past the worst of the world shutting down. It looks like hopefully things will keep getting back to normal, because I can tell you it has not been normal. We still are dealing with some of those issues, but I think you have to find the positives and look for them and make sure that you have that. So what are you thankful for?
Yeah, so I'd have to say, I guess more down to the basics, like my husband, my family, our new home. It's been kind of a couple of rough patches the last couple of years. And, my dad was sick this year, and it was a challenge buying a new home with the market being crazy. So it's definitely being thankful for like shelter, food, family. Things can change in an instant for sure. So really, I mean, we have clean running water, we have electricity, like things are good. It could be a lot worse. So definitely thankful for all that we have. And I can definitely count my blessings. And I think people should definitely go ahead and share with others for sure. It's a good time to remember that too.
And you serve as a great reminder. Of course, I'm very thankful for my family, my wife, who has had some health issues, and she's trooping on. That's good. My brother, my sister, and all of those who are around me. And you really ought to think about it, because we often take things for granted, and that's probably not the best way to do it, because, Thanksgiving shouldn't just be one day a year, but during that one day, it's maybe time to reflect and to think about it and make sure that you make it that special day, because you make every day of your life special. You actually are in charge of that, which is probably the scariest part of it.
Yeah. So what are universal things that everyone should be thankful for?
Well, I think the universal things that everybody should be thankful for is, if you are in good health, that's something to be thankful for. If you are doing okay in life, that's something to be thankful for. If you have goals that you're striving for, those are things to be thankful for. But I think basically is, how are you growing as an individual? How are you developing as an individual? Because the more that you develop and grow, the more riches that you have in your life. Now, I know that there are a lot of people, especially watching this kind of hyper crazy world, will think, well, if I don't have as much as somebody else, if I don't do this, I don't do that. Comparisons are a really lousy way to live your life. Now, let's face it, the richest people in the world are doing their life, you're doing your life. Envy is a very dangerous and toxic thing. Envy and all of that, it's just bad. It's just not good at all. So what you should be thankful for universally is what you have, how you can grow, and how you can move forward. Because when you do that, what you'll find out is that your life keeps getting bigger and better and stronger. And more importantly, what you do is you can get more enjoyment out of it. We all have a choice every single day. This isn't all, as my mentor, Big Joe, used to say, John, it's an all volunteer army. You show up every day. You decide what you're going to do or not do. You're in charge. The bad news is you're in charge. The good news is that you're in charge. So I would leave you with this. Be thankful every single day for all the things that you have. Count your blessings. Make sure that you acknowledge them. Help people out. Be that positive force in someone's life. Do something that you don't ever expect to get repaid. Let some things go. Not easy for me, I can tell you that, but you gotta let some things go. And more importantly, you need to find a way to tell those around you that you love and care for that you're there for them and they'll be there for you. And with that, I just want to thank Sandra and also all of you for spending another episode of the Raging Verbalist. And I hope you have a fantastic Thanksgiving. And most importantly, every day you see it as a celebration of life and a reaffirmation that today is going to be amazing. Thank you and have a great Thanksgiving.